talk quite a bit about your new middle grade novel, Unfadable, which releases May 10th, 2022. That's Tuesday, esteemed audience. If you're listening to us as this comes out, you can pre-order. If you're listening to this after it came out, good news, it's already available. Just go get it. So Unfadable by Maurice Broaddus, but I know that you love a good short story, that in fact, short stories are that's your preferred medium, right?
Oh yeah, I love short stories. I love short stories. And in fact, when I was taking the 7 years to write the novel, one of the things that kept me going was the fact that I would take breaks every so often and then just write some short stories, just so I could have that rush of, getting to the end of a writing project. So, and even though I just turned in the the first draft of the second novel in I also have an adult sci-fi series. I just turned in the first draft of the second book of that. In the last month of writing that book, in order to give myself some space to think, I ended up writing a bunch of short stories. I think I wrote a short story a week during the last month of writing that novel.
And to me, that just sounds like a lot of extra work. What is it about writing those short stories that energizes you and gets you to a point where you can write that full long draft? Because I know you're famous for this. You've always got a deadline coming up and you're doing something else on top of what you need to do for the deadline.
Right. And so I do have this down to a science where I'm actually using writing to procrastinate from writing. So it does allow me to give the illusion of being productive when actually it's just me stalling from doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I've just found a productive way of doing it. But no, short stories allow me to do a couple of things. So one, it allows me to experiment with writing. So I get to build different writing muscles. Like I get to experiment with voice, and I get to experiment with form, and I get to experiment with characterization, or even world building. And speaking of world building, that's the other thing I use the short stories for, is to help me think through some of the world building aspects of whatever I'm working on. So while I was working on my first novel, the first of my sci-fi trilogy, it's called Sweep of Stars. I think I've wrote probably a dozen short stories in that world, so I could flesh out different areas of the world building for the novel. So I just keep that up. And so a lot of the stories I was writing in this cycle was about, doing some of the world building for the second book. So I was trying to figure out, well, what does the magic system look like here? Well, I don't know. Let's figure it out. And I think I wrote 3 stories just about the magic system in the world. And then there was a background character who appears for exactly 1 chapter in the entire novel, but I was just like, ooh, I wonder what her backstory is. So then I wrote a short story just to flesh out her backstory. And then as it turns out, she's a much more fascinating figure than I thought. So I might have to, in the revision of the book, like, well, maybe I'll do a little bit more with you, that sort of thing. So, that's why I just love short stories.
It seems like you're stalling, but then you are, but you're also, you're doing the work, and then on top of doing all that world building, now you've got some stories, some of which, if not all, will be sold elsewhere and can be used as direct tie-in promotions for your novel.
They have actually, as of today, they have all sold, and they'll be coming out, between now and leading up to the next book. So yeah, and each time a story comes out, that's an opportunity to keep my name out there, to remind folks I do the thing, and also remind them that, hey, these all tie into the novel series. So it's a continual promotion for all of that.
The genius to this madness. If you look close, you'll see it. There it is.
Right. It's buried in there somewhere.